I like how
Dun,
you
dun, dun, dun,
just
dun,
start
dun,
with
dun,
one.
dun. What is up, my people? Another episode of Pie in the What? Pie in the What?
I'm gonna let you run this one solo. I'm not gonna say a word.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Don't get me talking to myself. But you brought something up. I think about a week ago, it was someone that had a website build, and it was a company, AI is a big buzzword, and a company used AI in their creation of the website and created it fast, but he received it and it wasn't expensive, and he just wasn't happy with it. um we chatted with him, and he was looking for more of a human-centric kind of driven approach, more than just you know quick, fast, AI produced. I mean, let's face it, you could tell, right? um I call it the human counter trend is kind of happening. AI generated content is flooding the market. Consumers are craving authenticity. They want to see the scars, they want to see the wrinkles, the grays, even though we try to cover them up sometimes. Brands are winning by showcasing real people, building founder brands, is what they call it, and using human voices to foster trust instead of AI-centric models that you see floating around, especially during the Super Bowl commercials. It was full of AI. Hated it, especially in the B2B space, right? B2C, they're getting away with it a little more. They're using a lot of generative AI, which is a good thing to help foster a lot of personalization and kind of real live support, on demand support for journeys. I'd say using that as kind of a support, especially with B2C, that's actually helping conversions and adoption. But with B2B, they're calling it the human counter trend. But yeah, you were telling me about that the other day, Jay Hill. You showed me somebody that reached out. Maybe they talked with Sam or something, and you pulled it up. It was a statement, right? Did I hit it
Yeah,
pretty
man,
on?
it was interesting. We had a lead come in, and they had built their website and utilized AI 100% for the website, and so then they came our way to the agency. And for our listeners that aren't aware, Love Your Brand podcast is powered by Talent Alexander, a full service creative marketing agent. So that division of the business, we got the lead comes in, and they were not satisfied with the results of what AI was able to generate for a website. So they reach out to us and say, I need your help to actually create a website that uses the human element, that uses the human touch, because AI was not at a place to knock it out of the park yet. So it was just interesting it came in because AI is such a buzzword right now. And when it came out last year to the public, ChatGPT is number one that people are signing up for. So they sign up for ChatGPT, they start using it, asking questions, it's creating content. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for AI and the services that you can utilize AI for. And so I think most people, or a lot of people, don't understand how to use AI properly. There's a time and a place for how to integrate it into the traditional ways of running your business, operating your business, for processes and systematization and things like that. It will make you so much more efficient on a personal level, on a professional level, and just within your organization. But I think a lot of people, as this prospect alluded to, they're just taking what they have, what they want to do, and they're just dumping it in there. And whatever AI spits back to them, they're using that. And AI is not at a place yet for that, to where it doesn't understand tone, it doesn't understand the language. You can build it and prompt it and start teaching it, but this was a good case for us to be able to showcase and understand that it's a tool, but it's not a replacement for the current way you do business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just to clarify that, Jay Hill, it was actually another agency, right? That produced the um, good, fast, cheap model, right? The trifecta
Right.
per se. And that's what everybody thinks, wow, AI, good, fast, cheap, right? actually paid an agency, and of course they're trying to, do what they think is best, and try to be efficient as possible, and everybody is leveraging AI. I always say you know, just just chill out a little bit. Utilize it, but even though it's at warp speed, you got to be careful with it. You know, uh, it's funny. I did a post on LinkedIn and showcased some of the AI versions of me, and I constantly it was a designer and saying, "Hey, no, do not stop using AI on me." Like I end up looking like a morphed, like John Cena, you know, John Wick, Jason, all merged into one.
I like the earring that it gave you.
Man, it gave me an earring, made my forearms like super huge. I mean, pumped, right? Like, hey, I kind of wish I had them, but still, it was missing things uh, that make me me. My tattoos, they mean a lot to me. They're my sons and daughters, right? So
Well, you
it
got a lot of
changed.
tattoos, so that means you got a lot of sons and daughters.
Yeah, got a few, got a few. But the little things, right, that it changed. I got a strong jawline, but it gave me like a super strong jawline. It was like out to here. Like, hey, I could take a punch from Mike Tyson jawline. Um,
So there's the slippery slope with this. Like, why change you as a person? So if nobody has ever seen you before, and AI Jason pops in the scene, they don't know any different, but they're going to have to see it look like that every time from here on out. So they're going to lose the real Jason. But
yeah,
there's no point to do that because what's happening is when people are seeing some changes like that, they see one thing that's AI. Because if you can pick up on something that's AI, then you start to question the whole brand. You say it's everything that this brand's putting out AI. And then if you're questioning that, then you start to lose credibility, you start to lose trust, you start to lose loyalty. So everybody understands that AI is being leveraged everywhere, but there's a delicate way to use it and to use it properly so you don't lose all your credibility in the business. You can gain a lot of brand equity over the years, and then one small mistake by using AI improperly, and you lose everything and you're starting over.
true story, true story. And I get it. Every field is trying to adopt AI to be more efficient, which I applaud. Hey, efficiency, I'm all about maximizing your operations, right? Kick out the laziness, being very efficient and profitable, right? It's I think the model has changed to add more people to increase your bandwidth um to fill in those laziness gaps, but I don't think that's not it now. But going back to a point to some of these cases, rather than just taking a photo and throwing it into Photoshop and making some quick edits, right? They're using, all the different AI media software. They're saying, hey, do this for me, kick it out, right? Um, Dude I follow, I respect, I love his stuff, Christo. Um, he did a post on LinkedIn, the same thing. Him and his one of his designers, they were sitting there banging their head against the AI prompts, and they were trying to produce this photo, and they kept kicking out results, multiple results, and it's been like an hour. Finally, he was just like, "Yo, let's just take it back old school, 1999, right?" I'm like, 2000s or whatever. Open up in Photoshop, adjust the lighting, do this, do this, do this, do this. Boom. They kicked out 3 variations in like 30 minutes. Now, hence, you got to be a good designer. Time is irrelevant. But, they lit up because they forgot the reason why they did this in the first place, right?
Bingo.
So we're becoming curators of creative and marketing and branding, but there's a fine line to where you you lose your passion. You don't, it's like as you morph into being more of a curator, you got to find ways to keep that tethered passion, right? To what you do, to what brings joy. And you could do it in multiple ways, but they did that and it was so simple. And they were just like, geez, why? And they realized they've been leveraging AI so much and become accustomed to it, then, that skill seems to drop off a little bit, right? And it takes something like that to bring that source of remembrance and that wow, that joy, that passion. So that's going to be the trick, ladies and gentlemen, is how do we transition? How do we? Because let's face it, it's just gonna get there's just more adoption with AI and technology, and um, as it transpires, how do we, especially in this field, in other fields that it's affecting, how do we keep the passion? How do we keep the joy? And while we're curating and creating this, right? And it could be, this human-centric movement continues to push forward, and people lean heavily on that arena, and a little less AI, and they want to use AI more for business optimization. There's a lot of different scenarios that this can happen, or you just make time in your day to go hone your craft. Make sure you go and do what you enjoy doing, right? Because it's real easy. Next thing you know, you've got it writing your emails, your responses, and hey, I do it. I mean, why not? It's like, especially when you start training AIs and they know your voice and you kind of dumped all your knowledge into it. It is an alleviation. So, gosh, it's just a crazy conundrum that we're in, right?
You gotta be
Yeah.
careful that it doesn't turn into dumbing you down because, like, the way I try to think about it is if it went away today and we weren't able to utilize it the way that we've been training it and adding it into our workflow, can I still do my job? And if you're having it do every single thing for you, writing your emails, writing your content, creating your graphics and all those things, and then it goes away, you're kind of stuck. You're dependent on this one thing that without it, you're sunk. And you can't do that. And let's talk about the images. I mean, you talked about Chris Do and what they were doing. And as a designer, if you're a designer, I mean, you love what you do and you're passionate about it. I mean, you're an artist, you're a creative and doing those things. And so you can see with Chris when they went to back to Photoshop, I mean, it just awakened something within them of like, oh yeah, this is what I love doing. This is who I am. It's a part of their identity. And you can't let AI replace that because you got to love what you do. But like we had a client and they sometimes in marketing it's like pulling teeth trying to get good images. If we're running a campaign, let's say we're running ads or social campaign or building a website, reach out to the client, hey, I need some good images to reflect your brand. They're not going to do a photo shoot. They got their hands in a million things, so they can't get you the images. And so we got some images from them. They're blurry, they're out of focus, they're tilted, just the scale, everything about it is just you can't feature it. But I dropped a few of those into ChatGPT and just asked it to optimize it a little bit, cleaning it up, making the lines a little more clear, taking the blurry aspect out. So it's still that image, it just optimizes it a little bit. So you don't lose the real image that was created, but you just make it more presentable. So now the client doesn't have to go do a photo shoot. They don't have to get all this stuff to us. We can run, pretty quick through that. And so it's finding that way of leveraging AI to where imagine it being like a VA. So it's a little virtual assistant to you to where you're giving the direction, you're steering the ship, but you give it a little bit of insight so that they can help you so you're not stuck doing all those things. But if you're looking for them to replace you and start steering the ship for you, you're going to be in trouble because what happens when you got an iceberg in front of your ship and you're about to hit it and you don't know how to get around it? And so use it properly, use it as a tool. And, that's the best way to leverage it right now because everywhere you turn, if you're a marketer, so obviously if you're listening to the podcast, you're in marketing, business, mindset, some kind of growth in that perspective. You can go online and you can see there's a million different AI platforms, apps, softwares that you can download. You don't have to use them all. Find the ones that are going to help you be a little more efficient and just take one little small bite at a time.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of overwhelming. It's every time I turn my head, I've got a coach telling me what to do, right? It's like you
That's what I'm
or
like, which is 21 years old.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's integrated now and everything. I know you wear the Aura ring, so I
Not
know it's
anymore.
integrated. Oh, not anymore.
I read that a long time ago, man. Well, separate podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty much in everything now. But there's some wins with it. Had a partner, a studio. They're in Cali. They produce some bang up spots in commercials, and AI has always been a part, right? There's been a large human centric focus, but AI has always been relevant to commercials and different spots and media and things of that nature. But now they're actually able to do it heavily with some integration, but they're still using live action to where it's not, just AI, right? So it's almost like a hybrid where they're able to cut costs down. So, we've got, you know, a $1 to $5 million spot. Now you could do it on a $500,000 budget, maybe even 250,000, just depending on, you know, who's in it, what kind of royalties, what is the scope of it. And I mean, it can even get cheaper, if you go. So it has brought some good things. So to help companies be able to afford marketing and maybe afford more brand equity, afford more authenticity branding. Um, it's alleviated and brought some budget friendly concepts in some of those hard hitting arenas where you'd have to usually spend bukus of money just to be a player. So there's some good things. It's just doing it right, right? I mean, it's like the Super Bowl commercials. I mean, you saw a lot of examples where it just wasn't done well. Um, but yeah, fun times. I'm sure it'd be like beating a dead horse. We'll continue to talk about it,
So look,
and just like
get, go
fidget
ahead.
spinner, right?
Just like fidget spinner. I was just going to say, close it out, Jason. I know we're going to have a quick episode today, just to start planting the seed with AI. We're going to start talking a lot more about it. But if somebody's listening, they're like, well, how should I leverage AI properly? What can I do today to use it to help me? What would you tell somebody?
I would say first and foremost, use it to tackle the small tedious tasks out of your day. Do a top 3 list of the most important things that are really going to move the needle in your organization, and the rest of them, see if they can help you facilitate, right? Like Jay Hill said, instead of doing all the image editing, which would take forever in that kind of case, especially with those kind of renderings and whatnot, he chose to use AI, which was extremely helpful and fast, right? Those kind of tedious and mundane tasks, um, R&D, things of that nature. Definitely a repository. Keep training your AI so when you go back to it, it kind of gets better, right? It's it keep it gets better the more that you feed it, the more knowledge that you give it. Um, I would say start there. Business process optimization. I'm huge on.
Uh,
Um, I say external output. Still, especially if you're B2B, really human centric, right? Video is really in the forefront right now, and experimenting, right? Don't have fun. You've got to experiment. Now is the time to experiment. You got all this creative chaos going on. You got to try new stuff and be willing to fail. Um, leave it at that. We'll give it
and
more on the next episode.
I would add as we close out, just for our agency, one thing that's like drastically changed our day to day operations is using AI to record your meetings. And so we're obviously on the phone a lot with prospects, with clients, internal with the team. You can, for a low cost, sign up for one of them that records it. Because from there, number one, you have reference to every conversation that's had. You can quickly ask the chat AI to reference a certain part, and it'll give you the timestamp. It'll tell you exactly it was said. If you're working with clients and you're like, all right, I'm giving action items. I need my client to do X, Y, Z from a follow up. You just prompt the chat, and it's going to give you bullet points of, hey, these are exactly the things you're going to do. These are what we're going to do. You can assign out tasks within like management softwares like an Asana task management software. And so recording those calls has increased our efficiency and our productivity so much. And then you have that record of all those calls. So if you get 6 months down the road and you need to reference it, you go back to it. You can ask, hey, give me a quick summary from this hour-long meeting that I had, and it's going to sum that up for you. That is like a no-brainer. And so if you're not using some kind of call recording software, go ahead and start there as well. And then you can build processes from there internally.
God, that's a huge one. Jeez, it was so huge. I've got so accustomed to it.
You remember life?
Yeah. I think about all the meetings that you've been to where you've had a previous meeting about the subject matter.
Bro.
And you're sitting there and like, how did this not get done? Why are we talking about
notes,
the same thing?
You got notes on your desk. You got a digital note, Google Drive. You got stuff everywhere. This sums it up right there.
And we've experienced that with some of our clients when we sat in on some of their initial meetings. We've seen it in action. We're just like, wow, they just had another meeting a month later on these 8 subject matters and nothing got done. Yeah, crazy. That's a good one, JL. Awesome. Maybe we'll leave a couple links in the show notes too, to a few of them or whatnot.
Yeah, some are recommended.
One preferred.
And maybe we'll do it next Pie in the What. Maybe we'll do like top 5 AI softwares that we recommend using today. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. So make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, all the streaming platforms, so that you can stay up to date. But I'm going to call that out. We're going to do top 5 AI softwares to start utilizing immediately for your business. So like it, comment, share it, subscribe, and get the voice out, get the reach out, and let us know if there's any topics you want us to chat about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anything to add, Jason? Nope.
That's it.
Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Pie in the What. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Peace.
Thanks for listening and joining us on the Love Your Brand podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode, and remember, share the love.